Welcome back to Podiatry Marketing. I'm your host, Jim McDannald. Join us always with my trusty co-host, Tyson Franklin. Tyson, what's going on today?
Oh, not a lot, Big Jim. I am I don't know. Oh, shit, hit my microphone. You gonna do that again?
Sure.
Sorry. Go for it. Okay. Okay, you come on, be a professional.
I'm definitely not a professional. Yeah.
No, neither am I.
Welcome back to Podiatry Marketing. I'm your host, Jim McDannald. Join us always with my trusty co-host, Tyson Franklin. Tyson, how's it going today?
I'm fantastic today, Big Jim, and I think we should change the podcast title to Podiatry Marketing Outtakes. And we keep a copy of all the mistakes we make doing the introductions and other inappropriate things you say throughout the podcast.
I mean, that'd be a really, really long podcast. I'm not sure all the listeners want to tune in for that, but if we need to do that, we need to do that. So I'll let you dive through the archives of all of our missteps and racy conversation topics.
Yeah, I know. No, everything's great over here, and I'm like, I don't know, everything's good. Yeah, it's just one of those times where everything's running so smooth that I have no problems whatsoever.
You're totally lying, but that's
Like,
that's
but
okay. We won't dig into your personal life.
totally lying. And what is it? I used to love Zig Ziglar, and he used to always say, when people come up and said, "How you going?" He says, "If I was any better, I'd think the deck was stacked." And I went, that is such a positive way of looking at things, because there's nothing worse when you say to someone, "How you going?" And they go, "Not bad." And I'm like, so is that good or not? It's not bad. Not bad does not sound good.
Yeah, things could be worse, maybe.
No. So I'm going to dive straight into my topic.
Yeah, what are we talking
which
about today?
is, I don't like doing home visits.
Okay.
It's almost like something I don't like Mondays, but by the Boomtown Rats, great song. Anyway, and I'm not talking specifically about home visits though. I'm just using it as a bit of an example of a podiatry service that you either enjoy doing or you do not enjoy doing. So I just thought we'd go with the title, I don't like doing home visits, because I think that one, when podiatrists see that, they'll go, oh, I want to listen to this episode to find out what it's all about. And I'm going to touch on it.
Yeah. It's a little provocative
But
title to like kind of suck people in a little bit to the topic.
I remember a podcast once somebody did, and it said, "I'm giving away $1 million." And I remember talking to the person afterwards, and they said, "Oh, that was one of my most popular podcast episodes." But what they were doing, they said they were giving away $1 million in ideas. They just didn't. They left that part out. So this is along the same lines. I don't like doing home visits. So, but like I say, it's, and like all podiatry service. Oh, do it again. But if you think about podiatry services, there's going to be some that you like, and there's going to be some that you don't like. And I always think, regardless of what the service is that you don't like, if you do not like doing it, for example, if it was home visits, then stop doing it, because there's no rules that said you must provide all services to all patients all the time. I haven't seen a rule written anywhere about that yet.
Neither have I.
So I just think if you don't like doing it, then don't do it. It's really that simple. And I have had podiatrists say to me, "Oh yeah, but aren't we supposed to do this?" I think if you don't like it, you just don't do it. And I think if you're an employee, I think you have to be really, really honest with your employer when you start there. Let them know right from the start, whether it's at the interview, let them know what you like and let them know what you don't like in podiatry. And I think it's a really, really important conversation to have at that job interview, because are you really that desperate to get a job that you're prepared to do stuff that you really don't like, and the whole time you're not going to be enjoying going to work? The person who's employed is going to know you're not enjoying yourself. But if you have this conversation up front, they might be able to do things about it. So I don't think you should lie at the interview and then complain about it later that, oh, yeah, where I work sucks. I hate podiatry. I'm getting out. And I think that's partly where it stems from.
Yeah, it's partly about knowing yourself and, like you said, like knowing what your likes and your dislikes are, and kind of crafting the career and the job position that's right for you. If you're trying to be, all things to all people, you're probably gonna you're gonna end up disappointed, or the employer, the person you're working with, if you sell yourself as something or say you're interested in something but you really aren't, that level of kind of dishonesty will show through at some point in the future. Maybe not next week, maybe not next month, but if you're not enjoying your work, it'll show through.
Yeah, it will eventually show up just in your performance. And I've done some episodes when, with podiatrists, why they left the profession. And most of them left wasn't just because, some of them had bosses that they didn't like or felt they were treated poorly. And some of those people are just a little bit soft. They could have said something. But a lot of them just didn't like the work that they were doing. And and I don't think they ever really sat down with their employer and discussed it with them and just said, like, I don't like doing this. If I had have started a job somewhere and, for example, had to do ulcers, I would have told them after the first one, I'm sorry, but I don't like doing ulcers. If you put them in front of me, I'm leaving. Now, it'd be better to say that to them. They go, oh, okay, didn't really feel that strongly about it. We'll do the ulcer patients. If you do these other ones, yeah, I'm fine with that. But if I said nothing and I kept getting an ulcer patient and kept getting another one, and I'm getting home and I can't scrub the smell off myself, and it was bugging me that much, how long do you think I'd stay in podiatry? I'd just get out. So I think it's important to actually have that conversation.
Yeah, you're gonna be straightforward. If there's something you don't like doing, then there's no use in just kind of try to hide it, or sucking up and doing it if you know that it's gonna lead to kind of long term dissatisfaction with your work.
So the next thing I think, if you are an employer, is don't ask an employee to do something you hate doing yourself. I think that is just totally unfair. I think it's extremely unfair, and I have seen it multiple times. I've seen it happen all throughout the profession where the employs people do all the crap they absolutely despise, and then they wonder why they're constantly having to replace team members all the time. And yes, I did have employees do more of the work I enjoyed least, but I never asked them to do something that I actually hated. I didn't think that would be fair.
No, it makes a lot of sense. If you're as much as you want to have kind of a wide coverage of different activities, but if there's not something that you're willing to do yourself, it doesn't make sense to have someone in your practice do that as well.
Yeah, and I think there's a huge difference between things you like least and things you hate doing. So, like I mentioned, I hated ulcers. Hated ulcers. Now, if I had someone in my clinic who said, "Oh, but I love ulcers. I can't get enough of them," I'd be going, "Fine, if you want to do them, then you can do them." But rarely did our clinic ever get an ulcer patient in the clinic. You get the occasional one. I also didn't like penny pinching patients. I didn't like tight asses. So we did not treat them in our clinic. We had someone come in who was just whinging about money. We didn't treat them because I did not like those type of patients. I didn't like actually doing home visits, but I did do it initially. I did it for a number of years. We did home visits until I worked out I didn't like doing home visits. So if I didn't like doing them, why should I ask anybody else in my team to do it? And I remember the last home visit I ever did, and I was the last one to do it. I didn't have my team doing it. And have I told you the story about the plumber?
I don't think so.
No? Okay. So patient rang up, said, oh, wasn't the patient's son or daughter rang up. Can you see this patient? They were in Mariba. I happen to be going to Mariba to do some work. Not a problem. I went, oh, I sort of stopped doing them because I don't like doing them. But okay, I'll do this one. And I said, you've got to pay in advance though. So they paid in advance. It's fine. I said, also somebody needs to be there from the family to let them know who I am when I come walking in. So because they said they were pretty old, a little bit demented, deaf, I said, I don't want to confuse this person. So anyway, I rock up, knock on the door. And this old guy sitting at the kitchen table, hi. Here we go. And I said, I'm the podiatrist. He goes, oh, the plumber. It's about bloody time you got here. And I said, no, I'm the podiatrist. I heard you, the plumber. I've had a problem with the sink leaking for ages now. I'm like, I'm not here about the sink. I'm here about your feet. He goes, the sink is over there. And I went, and you know what? I'm going to go have a look at his sink. Still went to have a look at his sink. I looked and I said, I think I can fix this. I bent in there, fixed up a few things, tightened up. I said to him, how's that? He goes, that is fantastic. I said, not a problem. See you later. And I left. And that was the last home visit I ever did. And from that point onwards, I just went, I'm never doing another home visit. I don't like doing them. But I worked out I could be a part-time plumber if I wanted to. But you need to have a license to be a plumber in Australia. So I didn't have that.
That's what I was thinking. You were being
So,
a plumber without a license. I was going to ask about that.
yeah, I know. I was an unlicensed plumber. But all it was just had to tighten up something underneath the sink. I didn't really do any plumbing work, in case there's any plumbers listening. But I just worked out there and then, I'm never doing another home visit. And if I'm never going to do another home visit, I'm never going to ask somebody that works for me to do a home visit. Just not going to work that way. It was the same as I did not like doing nursing homes. Exactly the same reason. But if we were asked to do one, I would go and check it out. And I would be prepared to put my hand up. So I will do it first to see what the place is like. And if this is something that we're going to keep doing, and I'd be prepared to do it if somebody went on holidays, then it's something that we can actually do as a team. I remember my last nursing home too. And it's a sad story. It'll almost make you cry. And it was terrible. I got in there, walked in, went to the like the medical room thing, started to set myself up. And the lady came and said, oh, no, you can't work from here. This is where the doctor works from. I went, well, where do you want me to work from? So we got this room set up here. I went down this room and it was a toilet. It was like a handicapped toilet. And I said, no, seriously, stop joking around. I'm going back up the other room. She went, no, this is where the podiatrist previously used to work from. I said, did they have no respect for themselves? They wanted the patient to sit on the toilet, which is a comfortable seat, I may add. But it's not where I want to be treating patients. And I just looked at her and said, told her where she could stick her job, the stick this, that, and I walked out of there and said, that's it. We are never doing home visits again. And we never did one from that point onwards. So I just think as an employer, never ask an employee, a team member, to do a task, to do any form of work that you would not do yourself if they went away on holidays, or if they left your business, that you'd be happy to just continue doing yourself.
Yeah, I think that's good policy. You want to make sure that you feel comfortable and your staff would feel comfortable in whatever environment or whatever type of care they're asked to provide.
Yeah, I don't know. I find it, I just find it rude for an employer to ask someone to do something they wouldn't do. And it's even in just throughout the clinic itself when you're just running your business. If I walked past a piece of paper in the hallway, I would pick it up. If I saw a bin empty, I would empty it. And because I would do that, I expected every team member to do exactly the same thing. If their room is looking untidy, bloody tidy the thing up. They know this is off track from home visits, but it's just never ask someone to do something you're not prepared to do yourself. And I'll admit that I liked routine foot care less than I liked MSK patients. So I did more MSK biomechanical type patients. And I know right now, if I was opening up a clinic tomorrow, if I was a solo practitioner, I would do zero routine foot care because I prefer to do biomechanical MSK. So you do have the choice to actually do that.
Yeah, you have the choice to do it, and also kind of like how you develop your online presence and how you market yourself. There's different ways to go after those patients. So, if you were to start again, there's definitely ways to get more visibility for those types of services.
Yeah, well, when I was in Liverpool and I did a story about niching, I did a story. When I was in Liverpool and I did my talk on stage about niching your podiatry business. And so initially I was in Cairns, then I set up in Mackay. In Mackay, we decided we were just going to do biomechanical patients and orthotics, no routine foot care, had no autoclave, had no instruments, just that's all we were going to do. What took me 8 years to build in Cairns, I did in 12 months in Mackay, just money turnover. Because we were niched in one particular area and that's all we pushed. The marketing message was really easy. So, which leads on to the fourth thing I wanted to mention was if you're an employer or a business owner, do not market any podiatry services you do not like. It's just crazy. Don't write about them. Don't blog about them. Just because you can write about corns doesn't mean you need to. It doesn't need to be on your website. A lot of patients already know you do it.
I couldn't agree more.
Unless
If
you
you
like
don't,
corns.
yeah, unless you're a big fan. But I think it's a perfect point. If it's not something you want to see patients for, then don't have it visible on your website. You want to make sure that that website appeals to your ideal patients and the type of procedures and treatments you want to provide.
Yeah, treat the parts of podiatry you don't really enjoy. Don't have them on your website. And I say, treat them like Voldemort. Do you know who Voldemort is from Harry
Of
Potter?
course, I've read all the Harry Potter books.
Yeah. So treat them like Voldemort. We do not mention it. That name is not to be mentioned. So if there's certain things about podiatry you like least or you don't like doing, don't write about them. Don't have them on your website. It should never be brought up in conversation in your clinic. It's just, you just don't talk about it. If it happens to be put in front of you, like I said, I hated ulcers. But occasionally the odd patient would sneak through with one and they'd rip that dressing off and I'd go, eh. But I'd go get somebody else in the clinic who didn't mind it as much as me. So, yeah. So I had a weak stomach, really, really weak stomach. So back to the home visits part. The part of the reason, hang on, I forgot what I was going to say here. Okay. So if I just go back to the home visits part, if you want to look at that as a service that I didn't particularly like doing, and I'll go home visits / nursing homes, hostels, that type of work, unless there's a professional setup, not a toilet seat. But do you call it a toilet seat in America?
Yeah, it's a toilet seat.
But you don't go to the toilet though, do you? You go to the bathroom.
Yeah, but then I don't live in the U.S. though, right? So I think about toilets. I think about the salle de bain or
Oh,
the
toilet.
yeah, exactly.
That's really funny. I just realized that. Because in America, you go, where's the toilet? They go, huh? And you go, oh, where's the bathroom? And then they'll tell you where it is. But yeah, but they have a toilet seat. Anyway, to go back to the home visits / nursing homes, I found they were time consuming. But they always were. To leave your clinic and go do something and come back again, very time consuming. They were backbreaking. I used to get a lot of my sore shoulders, my back, my neck. And I don't think a lot of podiatrists charge accordingly for how much time and effort they put into it and the discomfort they put themselves through sometimes. I don't think podiatrists charge enough to do them. But I do believe they are a valuable service for the right podiatrist if you set up a certain way. But if it's not for you, that's okay. You don't have to do home visits. Like I said right from the start, you don't have to do anything in podiatry you do not enjoy doing. So that's what I wanted to talk about on this particular subject. Sort of
I think
marketing related.
No, I think it makes a lot of sense, right? It kind of comes back to what your goals are as a podiatrist, right? If there's a certain type of patients you enjoy seeing, whether it's different types of procedures or a certain demographic, one of the first things you should do when you're in practice is to really hone in on what direction you want to go and who you want to treat. Obviously, like you said, it doesn't mean you're not, you're occasionally going to get someone that's not kind of in that cohort of people that are kind of your ideal patients. But if you're being more deliberate about what you see and what you don't see and what direction you go to, you have a lot better chance to have a more successful and a more kind of happier practice and more of a practice that you enjoy going to every day.
Yeah, and I know some people that got very successful podiatry clinics that are heavily home visit based, and they do really well from it. And the people that work for them love it. So it's suited to certain people, and the podiatrists that are taking that job know exactly what they're in for, and they actually enjoy moving around from house to house, and they love that type of work. So I don't think it's a service that you should look down on. It's just it's got to be for the right podiatrist under the right circumstances. But that comes to any area of podiatry. And I mentioned when I set up Mackay, and we didn't do any routine foot care. If you really believe what you're going to do, stand behind that. And even though you sometimes might doubt that you're doing the right thing. And I know when we had bills to pay and people ring up saying, oh, can we be seen for an ingrown toenail? Oh, my grandmother needs her toenails cut. I'm going, and my receptionist is saying to me, sure you don't want to start seeing these patients? And we're just letting money go. I'm going, I know we're doing the right thing here. And we let them go. And what was good is we let them go to the other podiatrist in town. We kept him really busy with all the routine foot care, which he was great at. And that freed up our time just to do biomechanical MSK stuff. And in the end, it all paid off. So
Good to hear.
I think stick to what you think is going to work, and don't give up too early.
Sounds like sage advice.
Okay, Jim, that's enough from me this week. I will talk to you again next week.
Sounds good, Tyson.
Okay, bye.
Bye now.